This episode of the Young Turks brought to you by Squarespace. Use TYT promo code to sign up at squarespace.com. Representative Darrell Issa is from California. He's a Republican. He's now head of the committee that would do investigations on the government, including the executive branch, and he has promised many investigations of President Obama's administration. In fact, he has called the Obama administration, when he was on with Rush Limbaugh, quote, one of the most corrupt presidents in modern times. One of the most corrupt presidents in modern times. And, of course, it's the same Darrell Issa, as we've told you in the past, who, when asked about the $12 billion that was lost under George Bush in Iraq, said, money gets misplaced. What's the big deal? Okay? And we ran those clips for you. So under Bush, you have $12 billion worth of corruption. Who cares? Money gets displaced. It's Iraq. Under Obama, based on nothing, one of the most corrupt ever. They're coming, okay? But now, Issa turns out to be an ironic guy to make this case, because when you look into his past, you want to talk about corruption. Well, we got a very interesting story to tell you. Ryan Lizza did a fantastic piece in the New Yorker about it, and here are some of the things that Darrell Issa has been accused of in the past. Well, first of all, he has a gun conviction. That is not accused. He was accused and he was tried and he agreed to take a plea on it. He had an unlicensed concealed weapon that was loaded in his car. And he was pulled over and then convicted for it when the police discovered it. He had 3 different allegations of car theft, including to a fellow soldier in the Army that he was serving with, accused him of stealing his car and said he was going to take drastic consequences against Issa. Next thing you know, the car pops up the very next day. Oh, that's interesting. And then another time he's arrested with his brother for grand theft. This is grand theft Issa, okay? And then a third time they were actually arrested by the police for literally stealing a car in front of the police. And when asked about it, Issa said, we were walking toward the car. The cop must have misunderstood our intentions. I'm sure he did. Furthermore, after that, we've got arson allegation. I'm going to come back to that because that's gigantic. And then he dismissed an employee of a company he had taken over using a gun. Now, let me explain that one, right? He takes over this company, and he took it over in a questionable way. The guy he took it from was livid about it. He's got the old employees there. He wants to get rid of one of them. He brings in a gun. According to the story told by that employee, he brings in a box, I should say. He says, hey, look into the box. See what you find. And the box is a gun. He said, I'm going to ask you to leave this office now. Okay, when Issa was asked about that, he said, well, I never fired the gun, and I don't remember if there was a gun. Oh, you don't remember if there was a gun? I love the excuses. Because if you didn't bring a gun, you wouldn't say, I don't remember if I brought a gun. You would say, hell no, I didn't bring a gun. Where the hell did you get that from? He says, I don't think that I ever, brandished it. Hello? Okay, so he definitely did that. Going back to one last thing there is mysterious finances about how he got the money in the first place, right? Because in order to start his business career, he bought out this company that I'm talking about. And if you don't know, Issa eventually became a multimillionaire by taking some of those companies that he had bought and doing some good business deals, okay? Fair is fair. He ran Viper, and it was a car theft prevention program. His voice is even on it, like, don't come close to the car or whatever it says. That's Issa's voice. It's a fascinating story. And he went on to represent the trade organization, et cetera, et cetera. But in the beginning, when he took over the company, because of that fire I'm going to get to in a second, there were allegations of, hey, where did you get the money for the company, right? Because there are no records of it. And the insurance company that was investigating the fire was flummoxed. They're like, all of a sudden this money appeared out of nowhere. Issa said to the reporter, well, I sold a lot of cars. Which cars, right? It's like, oh, my aunt sold a car, and then other family members sold a car, and I sold my car, and, we liquidated everything, and then we just kind of had the money. And he said, come on, everyone has a past. I love that quote. Okay, so what happened with the fire? Well, he's running this company. They're in a little bit of trouble, right? All of a sudden, he increases his insurance on the stuff that he's got, the goods that he has in that factory, from $100,000 to over $450,000. And then voila, all of a sudden there's a fire. Who could have seen that coming? And when the insurance company investigates the fire, they say, what? An electrical cord did not cause this fire. There was two different spots that the fire started at. There was accelerators that caused the fire to go out of control, meaning somebody put something there and then lit a match, okay? They were not natural fires. The smoke involved was not natural fires. And they thought, no, you didn't, somebody lit this fire. Now, they never convicted Issa for it. They never brought criminal investigations for him. But the insurance was like, look, I'm not buying it. I'm not going to give you the $450,000. They gave him, eventually, after heated negotiations, they gave him $45,000 and said, call yourself lucky and get out of here, when the insurance was for $450,000. Issa took it and was like, it's cool, it's cool, it's cool. Hey, what's the big deal? Okay, now look, he was never convicted on that stuff. The only thing he was convicted on was the gun charge, right? But read the article for yourself. It's in the New Yorker. We'll put it up as a link here. We'll send it out on Twitter, etc. You make your own call. But this is the guy who is talking about how corrupt Obama is? And this is the guy who's going to launch investigations into Obama's shady past? Oh, come on. No, the Republicans are amazing. You couldn't find one other guy that hasn't been arrested, 4 times? One for grand theft, convicted, that has all these questionable things in his past? You put him in charge of investigating corruption? I mean, I think they have a rich sense of irony. I think they get around and when they decide who's going to run the different committees, they laugh. They're like, who should we put in charge of the committee to investigate corruption? Oh, Issa! Let's put Issa in charge. That'll be awesome. It doesn't matter. The press is never going to call us on it. So, and God bless the New Yorker for calling him on it. Right? They're like, we can get away with anything. Yeah, Issa, the guy who covered up all of Bush's problems in the last 8 years. Issa, the guy who had the fire in his in his factory. The guy who did all this stuff. Yeah, that guy. By the way, this story's great. It's got so many other parts to it. He says he ran security for Nixon when Nixon attended baseball playoffs. They go back and find out Nixon never went to those baseball games. Okay, he said he was Entrepreneur of the Year according to this magazine. It turns out he was one of hundreds, and he was the Entrepreneur of the Year in the local place in San Diego. I mean, just lie after lie after lie. And that's the guy who calls President Obama one of the most corrupt presidents in history. That's the Republicans' idea of a funny joke. You know what? I might agree with him. That is a funny joke. If you want to build a website or a blog, where do you go? You go to squarespace.com. They've actually built some of the largest websites in the world.
With Squarespace, you don't need any coding experience, and the best part is you can even edit your website on your iPhone.
They give you 24/7 support. You can do full HTML blog editing. I don't know what that means, but they do. They'll help you with it. And if you go to squarespace.com and you enter the promo code TYT, you get 10% off the life of your order. Forward.